everyone, welcome to another time lapse, this time of a birthday present I drew for my dad last December. I know it's late, but here it is finally. My dad wanted me to draw memories from our trip to Oregon that summer where we got to visit my grandparents, his parents. We went hiking and fishing and all sorts of fun stuff in Central Oregon and then the coast. So in the middle, I kind of drew my dad as the focal point, him kayaking and fly fishing with his big old trout. Then in the upper corner was this osprey-eagle fight that he had taken pictures of and we were witness to. And then we've got some pottery and me in a kayak. Then there's us at a beach going fossil hunting. And I'm just kind of drawing in. And then him and my grandfather playing gin rummy, which they did at the cabin, and we're very loud and rambunctious about it. At least my dad was. We've got the classic Oregon Marionberry pie dessert, and then some whale watching, and then at the very top was us hiking up to see the lake. So here I'm just putting down a wash for the water, which I had never really done before at this point. And here you can see I taped up the edges because the paper I'm using is not technically watercolor paper. It's mixed medium paper and it started to bubble up. So I taped it down to keep it tight so that the paper would be less likely to bubble up with all the water on it. Just a trick you can use. And here I'm just putting down the base color, adding a bit more depth to it, painting this tree. Just kind of, with watercolor you have to work light to dark. So I'm just trying to put in the lighter color that's also the background color before going into the details. Here I'm doing these birds. Now you'll notice throughout this video, this particular scene I go back to a lot because I just had a hard time getting it right, and even now I'm still not super happy with how it turned out, but you know, I did my best with it since I was working off a photo reference that wasn't even that exact staging. So the eagles are hard because there's a fine line between eagle, seagull, and parrot, so you really got to be careful with how you draw them. Here I'm putting in different rock layers for when we went hiking, just trying to add some depth and dimension and indications of boulders without getting too into the minutia. That particular scene was when we had hiked up and saw the Three Sisters mountain range off in the distance, so that was a pretty cool sight. Just again, adding more to that bird scene up in the corner. Really trying at it. That was tough. Just drawing in our little bodies, and whenever the paint is wet, just moving on to another section. So here I'm just adding some shrubbery, putting in the whales, which I wanted like this kind of grayish, but not totally gray, like a grayish greenish color. Just so I feel like if you just go black or gray, then it just looks kind of dead unless that's the actual color. So here it's nighttime, some time has passed, and I'm going in again with the details for these birds. Focusing on my dad a little bit, putting in just little details everywhere, just painting all that stuff in. Just trying to make sure it's not flat or muddy. Colors didn't really come out exactly how I wanted, since again, the paper is very important in how the color will show for watercolor, so I had to try harder to get the brighter colors, and it actually ended up looking a bit more washed out than I would have liked. So here, just trying to pump up the water since it was very blue when we were there. Putting in some backsplash, kind of trying for like a bubble vignette effect with all these different scenes. Just trying to make it all look cohesive, but still like they're their own separate bits. Adding some more there. Extra tiny details. And here I start putting in the line art. So I knew even if the paint wasn't exactly perfect, that I could bring it all together with the line art, and that's really when this whole picture starts to come together, is all these little details that I put in with the line art. So I'm just going through with each scene, and you notice I'm working kind of upper left corner to the right because I'm right-handed and I didn't want to smudge anything. So that's why I worked in the direction that I did. Right to left, top to bottom. Just putting in just enough details, but not too much. You don't want to overwork it. At least I don't like to overwork it. Like to put in just indications in the sketch. My dumbass is over here just drawing on my lap because it was easier for me. And I do that for the rest of the video. So we just cut straight to these specific details here. It's just how my dad ended up looking. Here's that infamous eagle-osprey fight. Still don't think that osprey looks like an osprey, but you know what? I really like how the tree turned out. Here's us on that hiking range, taking in the view, and the whales that we saw, which was a really amazing experience. I just love whales. And here we've got the glass and pottery that we saw. Literally looks like that. And then me and Machi's in face, and the fish that I caught in my little kayak. And here's that beach scene I mentioned earlier. My dad's over here stooping over to pick up this cool fossil, and I'm distracted by the puppy dog that I saw, which was really cute. It was so cold that day. Here, my dad being frustrated that he's losing to my grandpa, gin rummy. And then we have the classic Oregon dessert, Marionberry pie with some ice cream and a glass of wine. So that's the overall painting. I think my dad was pretty happy with how it turned out. I would have liked the colors to have been just more vibrant, but that was my fault for not really testing that paper beforehand. But overall, I think it turned out pretty well. So I don't know if he got it framed yet, but it's up and he seemed happy with it, and it has pretty much everything that he enjoyed from our Oregon trip, which is really the most important part. So thanks for watching. I know the time lapse is pretty fast. Not sure if you guys really got anything out of it, but hopefully it was relaxing to watch in either case. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!